It's now only work. You can start seeing.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and good night. Today is a very unique day of which we want to showcase the glory of God concerning humanity as regards peace building and peacekeeping. I bless God for International Internship University, who have been giving us that space to showcase all what we need to reform the country generally, from the local, international world. We thank God for today. Looking at the slides, one, you can put it on slides. We have the peace building and peacekeeping. That is myself, the African Continent Head, Academician Senior Professor, Dr. Chaplain General Ebhoria Charles, and the Nigeria Country Director, IIU, and the founder of Global Peace Ambassador, Global Commandant General of Dynamic Peace Rescue Mission International. The next slide. We can now see we are appreciating Nigeria's contribution to UN peacekeeping. You can see Nigeria has been performing well, showcasing themselves in the peacekeeping operation. Same with other countries. Slide 4, the introduction. Peacekeeping and peace building, Chapter 7 of the United Nations Charter set out the UN Security Council's power to maintain peace. It allows the Council to determine the essence of any threats to the peace, breach of the peace, or the act of aggression, and to the military and non-military action to restore international peace and security. United Nations Sustainability Development Goal, SDG, in Goal 16 said we should significantly reduce all forms of violence and related death rates everywhere. The next slide. That we should end abuse, exploitation, trafficking, and all forms of violence against and torture of children. That we should promote the rule of law at the national, international level and ensure equal access to justice for all. That we should promote peaceful and inclusive society for sustainability development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. That we should substantially reduce corruption and bribery in all their forms. Slide 6. That we should, slide 6, that we should promote and enforce non-discriminatory laws and policies for sustainable development. Worth knowing that sustainable development is an organizing principle for meeting human development goals. The next slide. while also sustaining the ability of natural system to provide the natural resources and ecosystem services on which the economy and society depends. Using recycled materials or renewable resources when building is an example of sustainable development. For sustainable development to be achieved, it is crucial to harmonize three core elements: economic growth, social inclusion, and environmental protection. The next slide, slide 7. God is telling us today that peace I live with you. My peace I give you, not as the world gives, do I give you to trouble, neither let them be. Since we have been justified by faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ. There is need for peacekeeping and peace building. Peacekeeping is situated before peace enforcement and before the sanctions reign, as seen in chapter 7. The purpose of peacekeeping and facilitate their settlements. The next slide, slide 8. Peacekeeping is a technique designed to preserve peace where fighting has been halted. Peacekeeping assists in implementing agreements which is being achieved by the peacemakers. Note, if you are not peacemaker, you cannot keep peace. Types of peacekeeping: conflict prevention, peacemaking, peace enforcement. The next slide, slide 9. Types of peace operation, peacekeeping. We have the conflict prevention, whereby we talk about prevention of conflicts. A situation whereby it cannot take place, then there will be conflicts. When the conflict comes up, the peacemakers are there to come in, and the peace enforcement will now also come in. If the peacemaker could not do what they should do, then the peace enforcement will come in. From the peace enforcement, it is always given by the Security Council. Without the instruction of the Security Council, peace enforcement will not come up. There, we have the next stage, the ceasefire will now come on board, ceasefire, where the peacekeeping will come. Looking at all this process, we call it political process. And therefore, they are called post-conflict peace building and preventing relapse to conflicts. Slide 10. The next slide talks about conflict prevention. What is conflict prevention? This is the diplomatic and structural measure used to keep tension, either intrastate or interstates, and disputes from escalating into violent conflicts, just as I said the other time. Peacemaking, this is the diplomatic action to bring unfriendly, which is the hostile parties, to a negotiated agreements. While the peace enforcement, the Security Council must authorize for any peace to be enforced. The next slide, slide 11. Peace enforcement is coercive measure carried out by the use of military force after the Security Council had discovered 3 things. What are those 3 things? The threats to the peace, such as climate change, tourism, cyber attack, the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, poverty, and transborder criminal crimes are only some of the many factors that disrupt peace, at times leading to violent and deadly conflicts in parts of the world. 2, breach of peace. 3, the act of. The next slide, slide 12. The next slide. Peace building aims to bridge the gap between peacekeeping and development by helping nations become effective members of the international community. It focuses on keeping nations recover from violent conflicts, whether inter-wars or wars between states. Peace building lay the foundation for sustainable peace and development. Peace building is a complex long-term process used to create the condition for sustaining peace. Peace building is a range of measures targeted to reduce the risk of lapsing or relaxing into conflicts. The next slide, slide 13. This is what is being done to build peace so as to sustain peace and development, strengthen national capacity at all levels for conflict management and to lay the foundation. This addresses the deep roots and causes of violent conflicts. Peace building addresses core issues that affect the functioning of society and the states. Peace building also said to enhance the capacity of the states to effectively and legitimately carry out its core functions. Peace building is all about the support and the participation process given to a legitimate political institution. The next slide, slide 14. The basic principles guiding UN peacekeeping. 1, the concept to the party, impartiality, no use of force except in self-defense and defense of the mandates. Concept of the parties. Concepts is the understanding that the parties have of the contract. Both parties in the contract must give their concepts voluntarily. If there are certain mistakes, or if one party attempts to deceive or pressure the other, the concept will not be considered voluntarily or genuine. The next slide, slide 15. Impartiality. This is the second basic principle guiding UN peacekeeping. Impartiality is the quality of not being biased or produce fairness, e.g., we appointed the peacekeepers to keep peace based on their reputations for integrity and impartiality. No use of force except in self-defense and defense of the mandates. In self-defense, whereby the other party, the violent party, trying to cause commotion, then the UN peacekeepers will strike. Or where the other parties, they don't want to keep to orders, and they are being mandated by the UN Council to go and strike, they will do because they are mandated. The next slide, slide 16. Approaches to peace building. We have negative peace, we have positive peace, and we have the just peace. Negative peace. This is the absence of violence, absence of war, e.g., the prevention of violence by violent actors, e.g., ceasefire. Note, this is what we call negative peace. This requires the use of armed institutions. The next slide, slide 17. Positive peace. Positive peace. This is the integration of human society. What do I mean? Positive peace is the attitude, institution, and structures that create and sustain peaceful solution. E.g., high level of human capital can act as a drive of economic growth, and strong business environment can be a driver of improved education. Just peace. The society, the social condition of perfect justice and righteousness that will realize in the house of the Lord during the end time. How prepared are we? Eschatological. The next slide, slide 18. The role of youth, the next slide, slide 18. The role of youth in peace building and peacekeeping. 1, to make public opinion regarding the essence of peace and humanity. 2, to create as well as lead peace movement against racism and militarism. 3, to war for the democracy, human rights, and gender justice. 4, to spread the idea of peace and nonviolence. 5, to establish network among the youth organizations that are dedicated to peace and prosperity. The next slide, slide 19. Continuation of the roles of the youth in peace building and peacekeeping. The next slide. To strengthen the fight against discrimination, poverty, gender injustice, malnutrition, and hunger. 7, to provide voluntary service to the people during human-made and natural disaster. 8, to participate in public policy making. 9, to create within them a strong desire to serve the international community and a sense of responsibility towards the future of it. The next slide, slide 20. A continuation, size 20. A continuation of the roles of youth in peace building and peacekeeping to create public awareness about the problems, that is, the climate change, wider spread of weapons of mass destruction and terrorism, etc. 11, to make a network of multicultural cooperation in economic and social and cultural area, etc. Note, it will interest us to know that no task could be more important than contributing to the establishment of a firm and enduring peace for all mankind. Slide 21, the next slide. Continuation of the role of the youth in peace building and peacekeeping. Yes, the present contents of the world order demands the active involvement of the youth in peace building and peacekeeping. Since the international community is having a lot of problems and challenges in this new era, we are not just young people, we are the people and citizens of the world. We are not the source of problems. We are the resources that are needed to solve problems. We are not expenses, we are investments. The next slide, slide 22, continuation of the role of the youth. The next slide. Youth involvement in peace building foster trust and support power, sharing between decision makers and young people, especially through intergenerational dialogue and the youth adult trust building activities and training. Youth involvement in peace building and keeping will facilitate mechanisms, both physical and visual, for feedback and communication to ensure young leaders to be accountable to their peers, community, and partners. The next slide, slide 23. The next slide. Still, the continuation of the role of the youth in peace building and peacekeeping. Youth involvement in peacekeeping and peace building creates opportunity for young people, sustain participation, ownership, and leadership in local, national, and regional and international mechanisms to prevent, manage, and resolve conflict and maintain peace. Youth involvement in peacekeeping and building will foster their leadership skill while simultaneously ensuring participation of marginalized youth people. The next slide, slide 24. Youth involvement in peacekeeping and peace building, we are then nurturing their skills in leadership, mediation, negotiation, conflict resolution, communication life skill, and positive social norms. Youth involvement will make us to find them, learn from them, and support them. The next slide, slide 25. Pillars of positive peace. Pillars of positive peace. There are 8 pillars of positive peace. 1, low level of corruption. 2, high level of human capital. 3, free flow of information. 4, good relations with neighbors. Acceptance of rights of others. Sound business environment. Well-functioning government. Equitable distribution of resources. The next slide, slide 26. Example of peace building. Humanitarian assistance, military peacekeeping, military intervention, ceasefire agreement, establishment of peace zones, violence prevention, advocacy work, civilian and military peacekeeping, early warning and response efforts. The next slide, slide 27. The next slide. This gives us, this slide, these are the courses by the Peace Operation Training Institute, POTI, where I obtained the following courses: Introduction to UN System, Principles and Guidelines, Ethics in Peace Operation, UN Ministry Specialized Training Material on Child Protection, Human Rights and Peacekeeping, Peacekeeping and International Conflict Resolution, International Humanitarian Law and the Law of Armed Conflicts, Comprehensive Protection of Civilian for Military, Comprehensive Protection of Civilian for Police, Protection of Civilians, Protection of Cultural Property, Civil Ministry Coordination in Peace Operation, Leading within United Nations Peace Operation, Humanitarian Relief Operation, Disarmament and Demobilization and Integration, DDRO, Ebola, Virus Disease, Awareness and Prevention for Peacekeeping Personnel, Mine Operation, Explosive Address Management, the role of United Nations Police in Peace Operation, Peace Building, United Nations Specialized Training Material on United Nations Military Observer, Logical Support to United Nations Peacekeeping Operation, Gender Perspective in United Nations Peacekeeping Operation, Preventing Violence Against Women, Implementation of United Nations Security Councils on Women, Peace and Security in Africa, Asia and Pacific, Latin America, and Caribbean, and the history of United Nations peacekeeping operation from 1945 to 1987, from 1988 to 1996, from 1997 to 2006, and from 2000 to 2020. The next slide, slide 28. Slide 28. Slide 20, that is the certificate I received from all those courses you saw. These are the certificates, specialized certificate, talks about peace operations, specialized training certificate in civilian service, in logistics, in police studies, in gender awareness, in human rights, and ministry studies. These are the 6 specialty courses one can have by the time one do those courses. Slide 29, size 29. The issues in peace and development education. What are the issues? Non-violence, conflict resolution techniques, democracy, disarmament, gender equality, human rights and history, communication skill, coexistence, environmental responsibility, international understanding, tolerance and diversity. The next slide. The next slide. Conclusion. Peace building came into existence in the last decades as one of the principal functions of United Nations system. The foreign organization contributed other people and money to help nations recover from violent conflicts. United Nations, European Union, African Union, Organization of American States, non-government organization, national governments. John Galton was one of the first peace scholars, and his ideas still need further consideration. He said, peacekeeper created a negative peace by ending direct violence, while peace building went a step further to find and resolve the root causes of the conflict and work towards ending structural violence and move towards positive peace. He said, there are 3 approaches to peace: peacekeeping, peace building, peacemaking, and peace building. All these are known as post-conflict peace building. That positive peace can be achieved by finding and resolving the root cause of the conflict and working closely with the parties to the conflict to resolve those differences. Negative peace is a false peace because it doesn't involve killing, maiming, or torture, but people still suffer. Let us encourage the youth to participate in peace building and peacekeeping to save our future. Peace builders should always conduct a careful and detailed analysis to find the root cause of the problem. The ending of structural violence can bring positive peace. Appreciation. Thank you. We thank God and we appreciate IIU, my great friend, my great brother, my great leader, my great mentor, the founder, and also the trustee and the entire team under the leadership of great Sir Piyush Pandit for the opportunity to showcase the glory of God to humanity. As we all know, education is leading someone from darkness to light, from known to unknown. Thank you, all our listeners and supporters. May God continue to empower us as we continue to empower others. May God continue to give us the graces to be the change we want to see in this world. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I pray that we keep on working to the glory of God so that all the blessings we are going to derive from this, we all see it and actualize it. May God help us. If there's any time, anybody who has any question, I'm free to answer any question.